Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. We're back again with another action figure review. In this episode, we're taking a look at the new Masters of the Universe Origins line. He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. So, I've put this particular line off for a while. It actually came out in 2020. That's when I picked this one up, but for whatever reason, it's just been sitting on the shelf waiting to get around to it. So I finally decided to go ahead and jump into this and see what my thoughts are about this particular line. As we have moved on into 2020, so I'm shooting this video in May 2021. So as we've kind of progressed back from when these were originally released until now, this particular line has been a pain to try to collect at all. I've managed to get most of them, so we'll be doing reviews of pretty much, well, we'll be doing reviews of all the ones I picked up so far. It's not all of them as of today, but yeah, it's been a pain trying to get these things. They pop up. He-Man and Skeletor are still on the shelves. I'll say that. They have been available for a while, which is one of the reasons I've not really been too pressed to go ahead and get into this one. But we're not going to bother with that. We're going to go ahead and just dive back into the toy here. This is Masters of the Universe, which is one of my favorite lines. I really like the Classics line. I've got a few more figures to get out in front of y'all so y'all can see those as well as we kind of move through them. I've kind of slowed down on that particular line as far as the unboxing goes. I've got a whole backlog of them to look at, but we'll get to them. But this is the Origins line. It does come on a very nice looking card, very reminiscent of the original Masters of the Universe, so I do like that a lot. We do have the New for 20, which is now a year old, so who cares? Retro play, modern posing, Mattel, it's all the stuff that you like out of the original Masters of the Universe line. So for that much, I really do dig the packaging on this. I'm going to flip this over, and on the back we have some of the very similar things that we've had in the original Masters of the Universe line. We've got other figures in the line, we've got the action features, we've got the copyright information, and we have the cool card art there. And we do have a comic book in here too. So very cool looking. Looks really nice. So let's get into this. I don't know how many of y'all have actually got in these yet. I don't know. But I am still a little bit hesitant, to be very honest with you. I'm not that... So far, I am not really in love with a lot of the sculpting that I've seen on these things, and I've not given it a chance yet. How's that? That's kind of what today is for, is to help give this line a little bit of a chance before we make our full minds up. So these things need a little bit more persuasion to get out of the card, off the packaging, to be sure. I was trying not to cut the comic inside, but I don't know for sure that I managed to do that. So anyway, there is probably good enough there. So we pop the figure out, we pop the comic out, and we have some pretty cool looking artwork. I love the packaging on here, if nothing else. That very classic red bursty thing here. So we have the comic. We'll look at that here in just a moment, and let's see what we got here. On the back of this, we have the accessories. They are just rubber banded in there with the figure, and then the figure does have the rubber band, so let's just slice that rubber band off, and then we'll pull the figure out. He has rubber bands on his feet too, but we'll just pop those out. So there is that. Pull the rubber band off. throw that back in the pile of get rid of stuff. The accessories do come bagged and taped into the bag, so that is interesting. But let's get the tape off and the bag opened so we can get to the accessories here. Alright, sword, shield, axe, standard equipment for He-Man. I'm very happy for that. I am not so happy with the feel of the weapon so far, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and zoom in a bit. These figures are a little smaller than some of our standard ones, so let me just readjust the camera here just a shade. Move the light down a little bit so we can get everything lighted up and looking shiny and cool and all. So let's look at the accessories first here. We do have this cool comic book, Beast Barrage. Nice throwback to the original comics, or the original toys which came with the mini comics. Unfortunately, all of these figures come with the same one. So we'll just flip through here real quick. If you want to read it, you can, hopefully. Hopefully we're not blowing it out too much, but looks like a pretty standard introduction to He-Man. If you don't already know who he is. Fighting Beast Man and some of those Shadow Beasts. And Skeletor's there too. So, and again, we got some cool figures on the back. So that is pretty nice. Artwork's good. Everything looks nice there. So we'll set that to the side. Accessories. Let's see here. We do have 3 accessories, so that is a pretty cool start. We do have a cool power sword. Power sword looks very reminiscent of the original power sword. And I'm not going to do a comparison video or anything like that to compare it with other different versions here. So deal with it. But very nice. It's kind of a silver, almost marbleized color here. It looks really nice in person. It is slightly bent a little bit, but I don't think that'll be a problem. We should be able to bend that back into relative straightness at some point. But it looks good. The little handle here is curved, which is a little odd to me, but it's okay. Other than that, it looks really good. I think it looks a little short, in my opinion, but I'm not sure. But let's see here. Sticks in his hand like so. Something like so. Yeah. Pops in his hand very nicely. Looks really nice. Does seem short. But it's cool that he does have his power sword. It would not be He-Man without it. They have also included the little the gimmick of having the 2 halves of the power sword. So I'm assuming when we get to Skeletor, his sword will be able to snap into place on top of this one, and you can create the full power sword. It's a nice throwback to those original figures. If you don't want to use the actual large handle there, you can also just have him grab hold of that little bitty guard right there. It's a little shaky in his hand there. Normally it's meant so that he can grab a hold of it with his other hand. Still a little shaky, not quite as nice, but it gives you the option of having the sword held in either hand. I did also notice that we do have the nice sheath on his back, so he can put the sword there in the sheath, and he can carry his sword with him and then do the normal by the power of Grayskull thing and grab it and grab it and grab it and go. I have the power. Cool though. It's a nice sword. That weird kind of metallic marbleization effect does cause some oddness in it, which makes it look like it's kind of cracked here. We've got a little ding like right here on the blade. Handle looks a little odd, but all in all, it's not bad. I do like the fact that it does look metallic. So kind of shift it there, and it does kind of look metallic. So that's good. So no big deal there. It is short though. The axe is kind of this bluish gray color, not metallic at all. Very little detail. Yeah, but other than that, it fits in his hand very easily, nice and secure. He can swing his axe. Yeah, I mean, it's lacking detail, but it's still a functional axe, so not too bad. Other accessory is his shield. This thing looks almost exactly like the original. This is all one piece with some painted highlights there. On the back, we have this crazy looking snap contraption that we'll look at here in a second, but the detail on this thing looks pretty nice. Got the nice round rivet things. The orange that used to be cardboard is now just a painted on there. It looks really nice. Let's see how this actually fits. Grab it in his hand, slide it over his arm like so, and snap it into place. And I guess you're supposed to stick your hand in here first and then snap it in place. Let's see if that works any better. Put it on his hand, move it up on his arm, and snap it in place. It looks like it really only likes to be snapped into place at the top of his wristband. Doesn't really fit anywhere else. But once you have it on there, it does look really nice and looks cool, and no complaints with that one. So yeah, that's kind of cool looking. Alright, we'll pull that off. So his axe will also fit on his back as well if you wanted to do that. This thing kind of snaps in place like that. So you could carry that as well on his back, which is a nice little touch. For the sword, I'm sure you could get it to work the same way. Very cool though. I like the fact that we can put those weapons there. Alright, weapons aside, let's get into the actual figure itself. The overall sculpt looks pretty decent at first glance. He seems a little bulky on the top, and the legs look a little undersized compared to his chest and upper arms. If you squint a little bit, it doesn't really look that bad, but definitely looks a little bit out of proportion. Although, and again, I'm trying not to compare it to the original too much, but that's what we're going to be doing, I'm sure. But I don't think that the overall proportions are just a little off, if you ask me. Like I say, I think his shoulders need to be just slightly smaller. It just has that weird kind of ape-like look to me. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I'm curious to hear what you all think, so drop those comments down below. Feel free at any point here. But just kind of turning it around here, the back looks pretty good. It's got decent amount of sculpt work. I mean, the arms look good. The muscles are very much defined. They look good. They probably look as good as the original. The colors are nice and bright. I do like that. I was a little worried about the plastic that they were using in here. We've had some issues in some of the past, like with the Super 7 figures, where the plastic was very shiny and plasticky, and it does not look like that's the case with these whatsoever. So I am really glad of that. It has a little bit of sheen, but not too much. It's definitely a nice kind of almost matte color with a little bit of sheen, so it looks pretty good. So, I mean, yeah. The biggest thing I really don't like is the actual head sculpt. Looking at it up close like this, it doesn't look too bad. It does look a little toyish, which it is weird because I know it's a toy. But yeah, it's just a little bit too kind of maybe stylized, cartoonish for me. It's definitely a departure from the He-Man face that I am remembering from my childhood, but for new people coming into it who don't have any of the other figures, for kids and things like that, they're not going to care. This is just the face that He-Man has, so I'm okay with that for the most part. So it is what it is. I've heard that the Battle Armor version has an alternate head, which looks more like the original, so I will be, I have been trying to get one of those and just haven't got one from. Anyways, moving on from there, let's look at articulation. The head does spin 360 degrees. We do have up and down motion, some side to side head tilt. The hair is kind of plasticky too. It's a hard plastic, but it's got a little bit of give to it, which is odd. I was not expecting it to do that. Whatever. We do have a standard ball and swivel at the shoulder joint here. Very nice articulation there. I should point out that these figures are supposed to be, they've been made so that the parts can swap out very easily. So you pop the arms off, replace it with like Skeletor's arms. That has been built into this from the beginning, so that is a very nice little thing. So I'll just point that out right up front. Moving on with the articulation, we do have a swivel joint and a rocker at the elbow. That is very cool. We have a standard swivel and rocker at the wrist. That wrist is a little bit loose, but again, it's made so that you can pop his hands off. And that actually came out very easily. So most of these have been, they've worried me, but this one came out very easily, went back in. No real issue with breakability or anything like that, so I think that's cool. We do have standard twist feature at the waist. You can also pop the waist off for that interchangeability. Very cool. We have the standard ball and swivel, the plastic hooky things at the waist and hips. So we get full out motion like that, full front motion like that, full back motion about like that right there. Again, you can move it around a little bit to get it to go further back, but that's about what you're expecting there. The legs, I don't think are supposed to pop off, so I'm not going to really bother with it. But we have a weird swivel rocker at the knee joint, which is odd that they have this weird kind of molded in bit right here. Doesn't look so bad when you have the knee straight, but when you bend it, actually it looks better bent than it does straight. But still, it's just odd. And then the actual knee itself looks very, very small at that point. But whatever. It does do the full 360 there and full forward and back. So that is cool. We have a swivel at the top of the boot. We do have a standard rocker thing. I'm going to have to figure out the name of these joints at some point. But it goes forward, it goes backwards, it goes side to side. All sorts of different ways there. So very nice articulation there at the ankle. And we do have a cool foot peg there. So all in all, the articulation is great on these things. I'm a little bit more impressed with it than I was expecting to be. All in all, it is a pretty decent figure here. I am actually pretty surprised about it. A little bit of weird paint apps going on right there. Chest armor looks pretty decent. It does have a snap on the back here, so you can just pull that off. If you pull his head off, again, it's supposed to be swappable, so it comes off very easily. Pop his armor off, and then pull his chest off to get his armor off, which is a little bit more than I guess you had to do with the original figures, but still it seems to work pretty well, to be honest with you. And if you take away that head, you have a headless He-Man. But if you were to replace the head with a better head, then you would have a pretty decent looking He-Man. This bit by itself looks awesome. Add the head on here and it's less impressive, but still not too bad, to be honest with you. I'm not hating on it as much as I was expecting to. How is that? I'm not exactly sure if I'm sold on the line yet. So the fingers on the hands are very bendy. The fingers on here are very bendy as well. I don't know how long he's going to be able to hold his sword for, but right now it snaps in there very nicely. I don't know if over time that will get looser or not. I guess we'll have to wait and see, but for right now, it holds pretty well, to be honest with you. Looks pretty nice, looks pretty awesome. The sword's a little short. Put his shield back on his arm right there too. If you can get that wrist to bend the way you like it so it looks cool, it looks pretty nice there. Then the axe can go in his back there, or you can swap that out for the sword, whichever one you want. The feet, well, all of the joints, I guess, technically are a little loose, as in if you bump them, they tend to turn pretty easily. So I don't know how well they would hold up on a shelf or not, but I mean, it looks pretty cool. I don't know. Overall, I think I like this particular figure. A few minor nitpicks, I would say, you know, fix the head, fix the length of the sword. And other than that, I think everything else is probably okay. So, no big deal. I'm kind of liking it. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on the thing? Drop them down below. But there you go. This is He-Man. Roughly 15 bucks at retail. As of the recording of this video, April 2021, they're still plentiful, so you should be able to get these things very easily. So you can go make your own minds up and see what you think. But I kind of like it more than I was expecting to be honest with you. We'll have to see as we get more of the figures in and review them to see if that still holds true. But I'm kind of liking it. Well, that's all the time we've got for today, so thanks for watching. As always, if you would like to, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop some comments down below. Let us know what you think of He-Man. This is the Origins line, so what are your overall thoughts about it? I know I went on a little bit of a rant at the very beginning of this about being able to find some of these and all that good stuff, but setting all that aside, I am liking the figure, so I'm curious what your overall thoughts are. If you've picked the figure up, you know, what have you liked about it? If you picked it up, what did you not like about it? And then, you know, what are your feelings all the way around? Those are the kind of comments, actually, I don't care. Any comments you want to put down below, feel free to do that. Yeah, I guess that's about it. So, I think I'm going horse here, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching, as always. Until next time.